Got it?
Awesome.
Right. Okay. Oh, I like your hat.
Thank you.
I should have worn the t-shirt.
Oh, yeah, I should have brought you guys some. Sorry.
I would have totally done that. So, right now you guys are watching Behind the Scenes of All Talk Radio.
Hello.
I have Silo, am I saying that right?
Yes.
Silo Moses.
Yes.
You are behind the scenes before we actually start going on alltalkradio.net. And this goes out internationally as well as national here.
Very cool.
It kind of sends them a text to let them know that we're on right now. My purpose of the show is to prove, you saw on social media, people did not want to give their change. They didn't,
Yeah.
It's not going to make a difference. We're not going to change them. Once they're homeless, they're always homeless. That's
Right.
their
Misconception.
Their misconception.
Yeah.
It's that stigma. I want you to tell your story. You're coming on as a homeless man that made a change.
Okay.
So I'll ask
like
you
that.
questions, but it's true. You know, we're seeing the proof. Right, George?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly right.
Okay, so we're going to do a sound check right now. Make sure the mic is comfortable.
This feels just weird right now. Only
Check,
like
check.
this. Check, check.
I need to go way up.
Got headphones?
Okay. Whoa.
Is that better? I'm a little too loud.
Now that I'm not in the nightlife industry anymore, it's
Getting a little bit back.
it's getting a little better. I'm getting my hearing back. We're here to spread awareness about this. So
Okay.
feel free to run your mouth.
Awesome.
And we're going to take it back from the very beginning
Okay.
and then go to what you're doing with Serving Hope.
Okay.
All right?
Very cool.
I wish I had
Very
some
cool.
shots right now so you'd feel a little bit more comfortable.
Yeah.
But I'm sure you're probably used to telling the story.
Yeah, it's cool. I'm surprised you're not Burning Man. I thought you were.
I'm having withdrawals. I'm having such withdrawals. But September 12th is the like the drum circle that we do in the playa. So I'll get to see all my burner family and give them big hugs then.
Nice.
I'm still gonna dress up and do like one night a theme instead of 11 days. But it was it's like, oh, I miss you guys.
Yeah.
You're gonna because it's so life changing. Burning Man is not, and once again, it's that stigma.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it was awesome. Can't wait to go back.
I went to a few, not Burning Man, but I went to a few of their little side parties. Like
The Vegas Tribe?
Yeah, went to Blinking Man, which was awesome.
Oh, neat.
600 of us got together. On
Wait a
bikes.
second. You were at the... Oh, we need to go. Hi.
Hi.
We're almost there.
The Forgotten City.
Yep, Forgotten
and I
City.
didn't even see him.
Yeah.
The Burning Man Regional.
Could we move over just a little bit?
We're getting
Now
close.
we're over here doing the
Getting
real
close.
show right up there.
Okay. Okay, we're almost ready to launch.
Silo Moses.
Yes.
Silo Moses.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds
Which-
good.
What you
Wait,
guys aren't
hold
hearing
on.
over here on...
I lost sound in my headphones.
Yeah, I
Oh,
turned
you will.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I turned you off.
Okay.
We'll get you.
What you guys aren't hearing over here right now is they're playing a disclaimer, but today is very G-rated,
Yep, I didn't put no adult.
so we don't have any adult disclaimer on here.
Doesn't mean we can't go there.
Okay, here we go. We're going to be going live right now.
So right over here, you're like, hey.
Opinions expressed on the following program are those of the host and guests, and not necessarily those of the staff or management of alltalkradio.net.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hi, this is Tiffany Masters, and you are watching or listening to Waking Up in Vegas. And I have Silo Moses with me this afternoon, and this is a little bit different than the shows that I do, discussing relationships and social media buzzes and the trends of what's going on in Vegas. Because today I'm like outreaching to charity, and this all started because on my wall on my Facebook site, I expressed my feelings about how it really just disgusts me how people can't just take extra change in their car and pay it forward and give it to someone that's holding a sign asking for help. And it was really interesting to see the different people. I mean, some were like, absolutely, yeah, what's the change? You know what and then there's the opposite saying, get a job, you loser.
Yeah.
Today I have Silo Moses on. You were once a homeless man and made such a huge change in Las Vegas, not only in your life, but you're spreading awareness where it started with one man, and now how many members do you have helping feed the homeless on Mondays?
Close to 100.
Okay, so it's growing and growing and growing. And it's like-minded people.
Mm-hmm.
It's all one love,
Yeah.
one universe.
Yeah, absolutely.
And yes, you know, for the you haters out there right now, I do agree with you that there are some people that are taking money and it's a job.
Right.
And they do have a house and they are, yes, I've gotten those letters, but not everyone is like that. And I'm going to let Silo share his story today.
Awesome. Well, yeah, to begin things out, just take it back, right? Less than 2 years ago, I, like you said, was homeless. I was living on the streets of Las Vegas, and I lived on the streets of Las Vegas for 7 months. I didn't sleep out of a car because I didn't have a car. I didn't couch surf because I didn't have a couch or friends with couches, right, at that time. I slept in public bathrooms and ate out of garbage cans. So
What brought you to Vegas?
I actually came out here for the nightlife. So back in Jersey, I was a DJ, and I had a pretty good name for myself. And I felt like I reached a glass ceiling in New York. And I came out to Vegas to start anew, kind of see if I could burst through that glass ceiling.
And instead of bursting through a glass ceiling, you were on the cement floor.
Yes. Yeah.
So not everybody in nightlife makes it in this town.
No. But that's why I originally came out here. When I have been in Vegas now for close to 9 years. The first few years that I was here, I actually just accidentally started a concierge agency. And I started it because as soon as I moved out here, my friends knew I was out here, obviously being a DJ back east that was slightly known. And they found out, once they found out I was in Vegas, they were all coming to Vegas. Mm-hmm. And they were like, oh, we need to hang out with you. What are you doing in Vegas? So we're coming to Vegas, yeah. So, you know, and all the questions, it didn't matter who was coming into town, all the questions were the same. It was, you know, what's the best place to eat on a Friday? Where's the best pool party on a Saturday?
But at the time, let's go back to when you're homeless.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's really grasp what that's like. Have you all seen the movie with Will Smith?
Yeah.
And his son?
Yeah.
What's it called?
Pursuit of Happiness.
Pursuit of Happiness, where here is this businessman and he carries on this facade selling his computer equipment or whatever it was at the time while raising his son. I've got chills right now. And if you believe, you will achieve. But unfortunately, it's not that easy, especially with veterans and the disabled. They don't get that chance. There is racism and a lot more. What did you experience during those 9 months? Is that what you said?
7.
7 months?
Yeah.
But you've been here 9 years.
Yeah.
That's right. 7 months sleeping in the bathrooms and give us some stories. Give us an insight of what it's like to be homeless in Las Vegas.
It's really, well, the great thing about it is the weather. But it's really tough because when you find yourself in a situation where everything that you know to be human is gone, it's really tough. What I mean by that is when you get down to the bare necessities that you need to survive, which is water, food, and air, right? When you get down to that and you eliminate everything in your life, and you really come to realize, especially if you're not getting it, like I was starving, I was hungry, my stomach basically ate itself, I don't know how many nights in a row, where I had nothing to eat. I went days without eating. When you get to that point, you realize that you're really an animal. Because at that point, all logic is gone, and you'll do anything to eat. I mean anything. You'll jump in garbage cans, dumpsters, you'll rob somebody to eat. And it literally puts you in that mind state. Now, did I rob? No. Did I jump in dumpsters? Yes. Did I jump in garbage cans? Yes. Because that's what I had to do to eat.
So that stigma is that everyone that's homeless is an alcoholic or addicted to drugs. How true is that? No,
absolutely not. Because I've never been addicted to any drugs. I'm not an alcoholic. I don't have mental issues.
Would you agree with me that if you're homeless out there and somebody does give you a bottle of Jack, you would accept it? It kind of numbs the pain.
It really
or
depends
not just
on
you,
the person.
I'm just saying out there.
Yeah, I think it really depends on the person. What we come across in our line, and this is probably stepping forward, but I want to kind of, it makes sense if I say this. Where we do our Give Back Monday nights, where we serve anywhere from 250 to 500 less fortunate people in one night, right? And within that line, we have everyone. We essentially started off first serving those who are homeless. Now we serve everybody. We serve people who are jobless, unemployed, underemployed, and homeless in our lines. And when you come across someone who is homeless and, they're in our line, there's a good maybe 4 or 5 of them out of 10 that are just falling on bad luck, or life just slapped them across the face.
Well, obviously they're all on bad luck.
Yeah.
Everybody's having bad luck.
But something in life happened, and it kind of drove him into homelessness. No one wakes up and says, today I'm just going to go be homeless.
Well, when the stock market crashed, there were
Right.
people eating tuna fish sandwiches.
Yeah.
But there's one person that can make that difference.
Yeah.
They're saying, there's some angry homeless out there, some bitter guys that we saw on my feed.
Yeah.
Hey, I tried
Yeah.
to feed someone and they didn't want the food. That's whatever. I don't necessarily believe
Right,
that
right.
in a way. It did happen to me though. Venice Beach. I'm an author, if some of y'all don't know, and I was up there writing actually at the time for a magazine, and I lived in Venice Beach for a month, rented out one of the apartments in Cadillac,
Right.
if you know what I'm thinking, the place.
Yeah.
And so I was fixing spaghetti, and I looked out the window, and there's homeless, and they're very territorial, and the same guy under the same lamppost every single night.
Right.
So I went downstairs, and he's been watching me for weeks. I mean, I'm not hard to miss. I'm pretty loud. Walked down there and a bowl of hot spaghetti.
Right.
And he didn't want it.
Yeah. And that too. I mean, you get people.
Why is that?
Yeah, a lot of people ask
do
the
you
same
think?
question in our lines too, is because we go down there and we serve food that we've baked in our own kitchens. That's what we serve. And we'll serve, again, anywhere from 250 to 500 people. Well, within that line, you get people as you're serving and say, no thanks, I can't have that. No thanks, I don't want that. And you would think someone who is homeless on the streets eating out of garbage cans would be more than happy to take a home-cooked meal, no matter what it is, right?
Right.
What we found out is that some of them don't take it because they might be diabetic. Maybe they don't have teeth and they can't eat bread. Maybe they have some kind of issue, sickle cell, I don't know. Whatever the case may be, where they can't accept that particular food. So like spaghetti's high in sugar. Maybe they were, I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely.
So maybe there was a reason why they couldn't accept that food. They're not being rude. They're not saying, hey, your food is not good enough for me. There's always a reason behind why they can't accept it, even though desperately deep down inside, I'm sure they want it.
I got a great answer. Great answer. Out of the majority, how many do you think are on drugs? Half,
I don't know.
More? Be
I don't
honest.
know.
Be honest.
I can only tell you what I know from what I've seen.
Because I do think there's a clinic out there that will give them, for the people that are addicted to heroin.
Yes.
There's a clinic for them.
And
to help.
it's actually funny. So, I mean, again, what I've seen, and if we're going on a scale from 1 to 10, 0 to 10, out of 0 to 10, maybe 3 are on drugs. And the rest are, again, falling on bad times or mentally challenged.
Mentally challenged is a huge one. Now, I have some statistics for you all here. A girlfriend of mine was telling me about their uncle, I think it was, ex-vet too, not being taken care of, has cancer. They can only get treated so much at UMC. After that, that's it. And a lot of the people on the streets of Las Vegas, I think that's over 30%, that falling on hard times are actually cancer patients. So they're on the streets, 30% of them have cancer. They all have a story. We all have a story. Another thing on statistics, more than I think 90% of America lives paycheck to paycheck. Anything can happen. One day at a time. This could be you. And I believe in karma. That is my religion.
Yeah.
I believe pay it forward. I don't care. If I have extra change in my car and he's there, I mean, okay, granted, yeah, maybe he's sipping out of a bottle of whatever he was given. I'm still going to give. It's all about the love. It's the energy.
It's the give, right? And you can't be responsible for how they receive it or what they do with it once they receive it.
Yeah,
it's
but
just
I
all
would
about
want to
giving.
buy some alcohol too if I was out there. I want to know my pain. You're in some problem. I sure in the hell wouldn't want to be sober, having to live through that at night.
So I had that opportunity and I never took it. So when I was going through being homeless, I convinced myself daily that it was just temporary.
Yeah. How did you pull out of it? Tell us this one.
Yeah. So I told myself that it was just temporary. And one of the smartest things that I ever did was if there was a group of homeless people to my left, I ran right. Everything they did, I did the opposite of. Because if it was going to be
Good motto.
temporary, I didn't want to fall into a permanent solution. If I knew where to get a hot sandwich on a Thursday, get soup on Friday, maybe a roof over my head by Saturday, if I had learned the system and, oh my God, imagine if I gained a friend, I'd probably still be homeless today. But because I did the opposite of everything they did, I stayed independent, I kept my confidence. Not that I had much of it, But I knew if it was going to be temporary, I couldn't get comfortable. And if I had a friend, if I learned the system and knew where to get a sandwich on Thursday, I would have became comfortable, and I still would have been in the streets today.
So that's another thing that's brought up with the letters. I'll pick them up and take them to a church. What was your response to that? Did they only limit the time in there?
Yeah.
It's not the answer.
No, it's all temporary solutions. That's all it is, and we can talk about this all day. And it's probably a second show, but the system that's set up around someone who's homeless isn't there to help them for the most part. I'm not saying
They're not
the
there
entire
to help
system.
them out of it.
Yes. It's there
a Band-Aid.
It's a Band-Aid, and it's a circle. And the circle rotates at the first of the month, and then they get kicked out of that circle come the end of the month. And then the first of the month comes around when they get their disability checks and they get their SSI and they get all that stuff. Guess what? They get right back in the circle, and it goes around again until the 31st when they get kicked out of the circle.
Now, there's a thing called the underground tunnels, which is a very, 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 very big, miles and miles long. Thousands of people are living under the streets of Las Vegas, homeless. This really became, I wouldn't say popular, but we knew about it back when foreclosures were happening. The children that are underground in the tunnels actually go to the schools here in Vegas.
Yes. So the last time I checked the statistics, there's 35,000 that are homeless here in Vegas. Out of 35,000, 12,000 of them are actually kids. And out of the 12,000, 9,000 of them live in the tunnels. Not the kids, families live underneath the Las Vegas Strip. No one really knows how huge our issue is here with the homeless, our challenge is, because we think homelessness, the issue itself, is just the 4 or 5 people we pass on the way to work and on the way home, right? Because we pass one guy at a red light, one guy at a stop sign. We think that's the only homeless issue that we have, are the 5 people we pass on, going to and from work. We have no idea that 5 people that we pass is not even a drip in the ocean compared to what the issue is as far as homelessness here in Vegas. So there's 35,000 that are homeless here in Vegas. And they are spread everywhere. They're within the system, outside the system, under the tunnels. They're sleeping, in parks, and they're in camp cities, and they're everywhere. And for there to be 35,000 people who are homeless here in Las Vegas, when Clark County alone has over 250 resources for someone who's less fortunate, it doesn't make any sense. There's plenty of options out there for someone who's less fortunate. They just have to kind of, I don't know, maybe find a way to take advantage of these resources, or those resources need to come together as a collaboration, as one, and go, this is what we're going to do together to help solve this issue.
This is I'm just speechless right now. It's like 35,000.
Yeah, it's a small city, basically.
True or false? Is it illegal to give homeless food and water out in the streets in most places?
Okay, so
I've been told yes.
It's yes and no. So Las Vegas, I think, has 9 districts. So you've got Clark County, Winchester, all the counties that make up Las Vegas. Depending on what county you're in.
And I'm not blasting you. I'm not blasting you. I'm not going to get you in trouble here.
It's fine. Because we took all the proper steps, and I'll get to that in a second. But depending on what county you're in, depends on if it's legal or not. Now, if you go down to Las Vegas Boulevard and hand someone a sandwich, oh yes, you're going to get a ticket. And if it's a bad day for the cop, you'll get arrested and he'll tow your car.
Okay, you ready for that one? Let's repeat that. If you're on
Las Vegas Boulevard and you serve someone a sandwich, you definitely will get a ticket.
Or possibly go to jail for feeding.
Yes, and get your car towed.
Why would they tow your car?
It just depends. They can do that. And if you're anywhere near Fremont, same thing. If you're anywhere near Fremont and give someone a sandwich, you can definitely get a ticket for sure. And I think it's like $1,000 ticket.
Oh my God! What kind of world are we living in right now?
Yeah. So now to kind of touch on...
So if I'm on... Okay, hold on, because now I'm talking personal things right now. I do this often. When I go off the highway on Flamingo, over here, like if you're going to the Bellagio or Tropicana, and they're right there. The one guy has a dog. I don't mind handing my change or go through Taco Bell and getting some extra food. I can get $1,000 ticket and arrested for feeding right there.
Yep.
So why are they okay right there? And I've seen them arrested so many times. But if I were homeless out there, I'd want to be arrested. I'd have a bed to sleep in, and I'd have a free meal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But then they're also now in the system, which costs you and I as taxpayer more money. For every person who's homeless that gets in the system, goes to jail, goes to the hospital for, maybe just air conditioning or whatever, it costs you as a taxpayer $35,000 for every single homeless person or less fortunate person that goes into the system, gets arrested, gets processed, stays in jail for 2 days, and then gets released. It's $35,000 per homeless person. That's what we pay as far as taxpayers. Now, if we came together and found a better solution, like, right now Utah is leading the way with, killing the homelessness issue.
Okay, what are they doing? Let's start answering these.
Yeah, they're actually building, compounds where they're actually housing those who are less fortunate. They're giving them a free roof over their heads, and they're giving them jobs.
And jobs.
Yeah, they're giving them jobs. And
this is Mormon, I'm assuming?
I don't know.
I'm wondering if there's a religion behind this.
I like to give credit to all of Utah because they've taken a trailblazing way that's unconventional to get rid of their homelessness issue versus giving them a bus pass and saying get out of town, which I've seen it happen here. And Arizona followed suit, and Arizona as well has found some ways to house those who are less fortunate, give them jobs, and they found that when it's actually cheaper to build a house and put someone who's less fortunate in it than it is for them to stay on the streets, get arrested, and go through the system.
Jeez.
So if every single person who's less fortunate here in Las Vegas costs $35,000 to get arrested, go through the system, and get released, it's literally in Utah they found it's like $12,000 to house them and give them a job, versus say $27,000 to stay in the system and get arrested. So as a taxpayer, you have a choice, right? You can either pay $12,000 to house someone who's less fortunate, or pay $35,000 to get them locked up and to feed them while they're in jail. And then
it's ridiculous that we can be arrested $1,000 just to feed somebody that is hungry, which should be our natural instinct to do.
Right, it is natural instinct.
It's okay to do it with an animal, but not our own human race.
Right. Yeah, it's terrible. Absolutely terrible. The whole system doesn't make any sense, which I think is where we find a lot of our, where people that come across us find us special.
It's less of a fine to pick one up as a prostitute.
It's a misdemeanor. And I'm glad I didn't know that.
Because that's a misdemeanor, and that's $500, a little slap on the wrist.
Yeah. Wow, how crazy is that?
Then to feed another human being that's hungry.
That's insane.
And there's 12,000 children here, and you're going to arrest me and fine me $1,000 and tow my car for feeding a child.
Yep. So so the way that I got out of being homeless was I basically did the opposite of what everyone else was doing. And, I never panhandled. I never asked for change, which is the reason why our organization today does nothing with money. We don't seek grants, and we have corporate accounts or corporate sponsors that back us that we've never asked a penny for. And I found, me personally, I wanted to still rely on myself for something as I was going through being homeless. I didn't want to panhandle because then I would have to rely on the kindness of your heart to help me get through it. I was like, no, if I'm going to get through this, I'm going to get through it on my own. So I look for change in the cracks of sidewalks, or I'd go into areas where there were still payphones, and I'd look for change in the payphones. And when I found enough change, like 75 cents, I would actually go into like a 7-Eleven and get like a small bag of Doritos and eat that for dinner. So there's a lot of things that I did to stay kind of independent, to kind of convince myself that it was still temporary, even though I didn't know it was temporary. I had no idea. There's nothing said that this is just going to be temporary except my mind state.
So what was your first, I remember, were you writing a book?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you would take the bus back and forth,
yeah.
and you were applying for jobs.
Yeah.
And tell that story. Very, very good story.
Yeah.
Heartwarming.
So, part of taking the steps to get out of homelessness was I had to go on job interviews. I had to do what a normal person would do if I had a roof over my head. Does that make sense? So, what I did was, I would take the bus, I would walk to job interviews, and it's crazy because, here I am, I'm homeless, it's probably 6 months in, my beard it's really outgrown, this is kind of trimmed compared to what it used to look like, right? And my clothes are ripped and dirty and smelly because I haven't showered in 6 months, and when I would walk in for a job interview, the receptionist, no matter where I go, would come running up to me and go, no, you can't come in here. And I said, I'm here for the job. You can't come in here. Did you hear me? I'm here for a job. Do you have an
education background? Did you go to college? Anything like that?
Yeah. So I graduated 4 years. And again, I'm just that example of what you said is absolutely correct. 90% of America is one paycheck away from being homeless themselves. There's no more middle class. It's only poor and rich. So every single person who is working a 9-to-5 job is one paycheck away from being homeless. And that's what happened to me. That one paycheck never came, and I got evicted out of my condo, and that was the first day of being homeless. So going back to, again, getting out of it, it was just my mind state. I had to convince myself it was temporary. I had to rely on myself still. I couldn't rely on the kindness of anyone else. And I had to do the opposite of what everyone else was doing. And that's basically how I got out of it. Now, you would think, eating out of a dumpster was basically rock bottom. It wasn't. What was rock bottom was, and I can't tell you why, but the entire time I was going through being homeless, my phone worked. I can't tell you why. Today, if I don't pay my cell phone bill, it gets shut off tomorrow. But the entire time, 7 months, I never paid the phone bill. It stayed on. So,
did you get a really big bill at the end?
No, never got a bill.
Wow, there's a God.
So rock bottom was for me is like when I'm glad that my mom and I spoke about this because she gets pissed every time I talk about this story. So rock bottom for me is when I called my mom. And I called my mom, and this is literally within maybe the first 7 days of being homeless. And I called her and I said, "Mom," and she heard my voice and she said, "What's wrong, baby?" And I said, "I don't know how to say this, but I'm homeless. I've been eating out of dumpsters. I lost everything." And I was expecting her to say, because she's back in Jersey, I was expecting her to say, "Hey, listen, let me buy you a plane ticket. Don't worry, it's going to be okay. Come home. I'll make you some soup. You can sleep in your old bedroom. Like, it's going to be okay," right? She didn't say that. She said, "Why don't you go to a shelter?" And for me, that was rock bottom because my mom was my ace in the hole. It was, I knew if I had fallen so hard that I can call her and maybe she would say those things, but she didn't. So as soon as she told me to go to a shelter, I basically said, "I got to go," and I hung up on her. At that point, I knew I was in this by myself. No one was coming to rescue me. That there was no easy way out. And that if I was going to change, it was going to be because of me.
So, long story short, you get a job interview.
Yes.
You go in, and where was your first job?
So I get a job at a moving company, and I can't tell you why the guy hired me because literally, like I said before, every place I walked into, the receptionist was like, "No, you can't come in here." Luckily, this place didn't have a receptionist, right? So I walked right in, and the guy interviewed me. We're in his office. It's a tight office, and I can tell that he smelled me because he's doing this as he's covering his mouth and nose as he's talking to me. And I have no idea why he hired me, but he did. Now, he hired me, and it was commission only. So if I didn't bust my butt, I made no money at the end of the week. And it was for a moving company that had long-haul moves, New York to Cali, Cali to Florida, Florida to Washington, Seattle, etc., right? And so I got on the phone. So he was like, "Here's what you're going to do. You're going to sit on this table. You're going to hit enter. And every time you hear someone say hello, you're going to give them this pitch. And then every move that you close, you'll get 10% off." And I said, "All I need is an opportunity. I don't care what the percentage is." So next thing you know, within the first 30 days, I'm the #1 sales rep in the office. And within 2 months, I'm out beating all the senior reps.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah. So, but again, it was commission only. So, and at the time, I mean, this is what's important to say here too, is at this time, remember, I'm still homeless. I go to work, but after work, I'm still sleeping in bathrooms. After I leave work, I'm still eating out of garbage cans. It's commission only. I'm not guaranteed a check by Friday. So I had to bust my ass to make a paid check.
And then did you save up your checks, and then what was your next move?
Saved up my checks. I moved into a room for rent and literally kept saving my checks and eventually bought a car and started getting go back on my feet, basically.
So did you start serving Hope LV to help pay it forward and help others?
Yeah, it wasn't even...
I remember when you were just starting out.
Just starting out.
With my friend DJ Matt Lindsay.
Yeah.
I actually met him talking about a persona here. I met you on New Year's Eve, didn't I?
Yes. Yeah.
I hosted a big party where all my Las Vegas bucket list members came to.
Yep.
And did my radio show, and I looked up and you're in the DJ booth.
Yeah.
I had no idea. Were you still homeless at the time?
It's very funny you brought that up because I actually got back on my feet January 2014.
Wow, that's amazing.
That
I
your
got
New Year's
chills.
Eve party was the first time I actually went out in a social environment around people who were normal in like 9 months, because I literally just got that room for rent in December, and Matt had called me and said, "Hey, I'm DJing Tiffany Masters, New Year's Eve party. You want to go?" And I have no clothing still. I mean, and mentally I'm still homeless, and I don't want to be around people because I'm antisocial at this point, because I'm still trying to get back into being a person who's social and stuff like that, right? But he's like, "You got to come out. You got to come out." And I don't know what it was, but I was just like, "All right, fine."
That evening was very magical, though.
It was.
All of our bucket list is just magical. There was a girl that commented today that I just saw that brought just joy to my heart as I was driving here. She said, "Thank you, Tiffany Masters. If it weren't for my whole movement with bucket list, you two would have never met." Go to Las
Nice.
Vegas Bucket List Meetup or on .com, and there's a calendar right there. We are out there every single Monday. If you could give some more information, that's one place that you can go and you can sign up, but you don't have to sign up. You can totally do it anonymous. I got a letter from Australia thanking me for such a wonderful event that you guys have. He said, thanks for, and he's from Australia, visiting Las Vegas, and went and fed the homeless and was a part of that, even though he was here on vacation. And he said, a special thank you to Father John. So if you could pass that on for me.
I will. Yeah.
For all of our listeners right now, tonight we've got the white party over at Friends on Friday over at Hearthstone at Red Rock. Join us there. And for everyone listening, and especially for all of your 100 volunteers that you have, Trim Body MD has given you all free B12 shots to come in on their Henderson location or their Eastern location.
That's awesome.
So you're going to need that extra energy after this weekend.
Thank you.
But give us more information how we can get involved. I posted on there, I'm in the middle of moving, talking about paychecks and losing our jobs in nightlife. Wow, we got very close out here. But I have extra beds, and I'm gathering, when I interviewed homeless, and my son was out there on the streets helping, the number one thing besides food and water and shelter, they were asking for socks. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to do some events right now.
Awesome.
Unmatched socks, runaway socks for the runaways.
Awesome. Yeah.
I have a lot to give you all. How do we gather all this, and who do we give it to? Do you have people that'll help with the truck?
Yeah. So, all right. So, do you mind if I take it one step backwards and then we can go forward? All right. So, for those who aren't familiar with Serving Hope, we started a year ago. We're just a little over a year old. The story behind Serving Hope is that it started with just myself and a pot of spaghetti. Wow. So I went down to the area where we serve today with one pot of spaghetti, and with that one pot of spaghetti, I served 30 people. So after I served those 30 people, my next initial question to myself was, I wonder how many I could serve with 2 pots of spaghetti. So I went back the following Monday, served again, served close to 60 people with 2 pots of spaghetti, and then I told someone who told someone who told someone who told someone who told someone, which now, if you fast forward a year, is now close to a Monday night where we have close to 100 volunteers.
A night, 100 people coming in per night. Because I know it's on my Las Vegas bucket list where people will RSVP and go out there.
Yeah.
They're homeless all the time. They're hungry all the time. Don't wait for the holidays.
Yes. Thank
Please.
you. Yes.
You
yes,
know?
Exactly.
It's like, tis the season to be giving.
So,
no, there's hungry today.
And so our one night event, which is Monday, and we give 6 days a week, but this one night event, which we call Give Back Mondays, is our way for the public to come down, the community to come down, to get to know us, for us to get to know them, and it's a great opportunity for them to give back to those who live in our own backyard.
Were you able to form a 501c3 with us?
Yes. So,
oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, and I forgot about that. I said how we did it all the right ways, and we can go into that a little bit later. But yes, so we are an organization that takes donations and give for free. Everything we do is for free. We're 100% volunteer based. Not one person makes a paycheck, not including myself being a founder. And with Give Back Mondays, with over the past year, to give you a few stats, just in that one night alone, 4 Mondays a month, we've served over 22,500 individual plates of food. And then we've given out over 17,000 articles of clothing, and we've given out over 13,000 bottles of water. just doing it once a week, 4 nights a week. I'm sorry.
For the past year.
4 Mondays a month for the past year.
This is a homeless man that has made a change not only for himself, but for our community.
Yeah. So
Now, where is this location? And obviously it's safe to go down there.
Yes.
They will not fine you $1,000
No.
or tow your car.
So, and you guys can, because, and to give you an idea of the location, we're at H Street in McWilliams, which is right off MLK and Bonanza, downtown, and in the Alphabet Streets. And we serve there every Monday, and we set up at 6:45. We start orientation at 7 p.m. sharp, and we start serving at 7:30. And we serve from 7:30 till about 8:30, 9 o'clock at night.
So they can get clothes?
They can get clothes, hygiene, food. There's also resources where those who are less fortunate, because for us, our mission isn't to go down there and, serve a bunch of people on Monday nights in line. Our job is to go down there and get them out of line. So once we give them food and their stomachs are full and we give them a nice clean shirt on their back, then we walk up to them and go, now what do you need?
How many people have you gotten a job? You're throwing those statistics at me there.
We've given a lot of people jobs. We've got.
Is there a company down there specifically to do this?
Well, we've got corporate sponsors, yeah, but there's not a specific company down there just specifically to hire, because it's
to help with job placement. There's not.
We have a table which we call resources. It's a team resources table, and that's their job. Their job is to help anyone who wants it, because they need to want it. Right? We're not down there enabling people. You need to come to us.
And you don't have people down there like beating the Bibles and trying to say my religion's better than yours.
No, we are an organization that's completely independent. And what I mean by that is that we're not affiliated with any church. Not that that means anything. And we're not affiliated with any major charity organization.
You're locals helping locals.
Yeah, that's our motto. Our motto is friends serving future friends.
I love that.
Yeah, that's our motto. So, and to answer your question, so yeah, we have a resources table, which is down there, which provides resources of housing, provides resources for jobs, helps people get IDs, driver's licenses, birth certificates.
See, that's something that, you need to get a lot of these jobs today. They want to see your ID.
Yeah.
It's very, very smart. And it takes, it's because of you. You've been there, done that.
Yeah.
And,
so, yeah, I know.
I'll have one more last question.
Okay.
Anything else you want to put out?
Oh, so let me tell you about how we do it correctly. So anybody coming down Monday nights, you don't have to worry about getting a $1,000 ticket or getting your car towed. When we first started doing this, the first thing I did was I got the law enforcement on our side. So what I did was I met with the sergeant of our district. And I said, hi, my name's Silo. He goes, yeah, I know who you are. He already knew who I was because he read my story in the Sunday. And he goes, I like what you're doing. And I said, do we have anything to worry about being in your district serving? He goes, absolutely not with me. So it's very cool for people to come down on Monday nights. You'll be safe. You're not going to get ticketed or anything like that. And you'll be able to serve food that you've made in your own kitchen.
Now, that is highly illegal, too. They could turn around. This is what I'm hearing. Can't they turn around and sue somebody for food that they've cooked and say, they're sick?
It's funny because I actually just answered this question last night. There's a big stigma out there, or a misconception, that me, corporation, if I give you my overages in food that is close to expiration or just expired, and you go and give that food to someone who's less fortunate and they get sick, that sick person will come and sue me, Mr. Corporation. There's no law in any law books anywhere that I've read that says that is the fact.
Have you talked to an attorney about this?
So I have not. I'm going to be honest.
Okay,
but I do know that there is a law out there called the Good Samaritan Law. The Good Samaritan Law is quite the opposite of what I just said. The Good Samaritan Law, and this is in every state, says, me, corporation, if I give you food willingly and knowingly that you're going to give it to someone who's less fortunate, that I'm not liable if they get sick. It's a law. It's in the law.
Why is it, if there's a Good Samaritan Law, why doesn't that protect you for feeding a child out there that's homeless on the streets?
Well, the misconception with major corporations is that they believe just by rumors that someone can get sick who's living under a bridge that eats my food, and if they get sick they can sue me. Again, there's nothing in the laws that say you can't do that. But on B side, on your right hand, is that you have your political campaigns, governors, whatever the case may be, who don't necessarily like the homelessness issue, especially if it's near tourism areas. So they make it illegal to serve around tourism areas to keep those who are less fortunate away and keep you away from giving them a sandwich where any tourist could be seen. Because if I have a major business and my major business is like a bakery or a high-end 5-star restaurant, and I've got a bunch of homeless dudes hanging out in front of my restaurant, no one's going to eat at my restaurant. Doesn't matter how good the food is.
Yet you see a pan of water for dogs. Go
Yeah.
figure.
So
Well, we really appreciate you coming out, and I'm going to be promoting this a lot. One last question: are you with your mom again?
yeah, we made up, and I forgave her, and we have probably the best relationship now than ever.
That's good to hear.
I only know now, looking back on it, she did exactly what she was supposed to do.
Tough love.
Yeah, tough love, whatever the case may be, she did. She said exactly what she was supposed to say because, if she would have said, hey, come home, I'll make you some soup and tuck you into bed and you can stay here and everything will be okay, and bought me a plane ticket back to Jersey, none of Serving Hope exists. Serving Hope today would not exist.
Oh, see? And now you've helped 22,000.
22,500. Yeah.
Because of mom.
Yeah. And we've gotten people, less fortunate. So we turn them around. We've got them housing. They've gotten jobs. They work at our corporate sponsors, locations. Our corporate sponsors, Starbucks sponsors us. Einstein's Bagels, Pink Box Donuts, Vons, Trader Joe's, Albertsons, they all sponsor us.
This is such a great story. I'm so excited for you. And just to think we met on New Year's Eve.
Yes.
What a magical night.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Oh, well, I will, I won't be there this Monday, out of town, but I'm definitely coming in. You've got to come get the beds and everything that I have.
So whoever wants to get involved, to answer your question, sorry. So if you want to get involved, there's a few ways. You can come down Monday nights and give back that way. You can come down with food that you've made in your own kitchens, and you can serve it that same night. You can also empty out your closet if you have any clothing that you haven't worn in years.
Especially it's the end of the summer.
Yeah.
Getting to fall. Do those jeans still fit?
Yes.
Is that coat kind of, I don't want it anymore. And one person's trash is another person's treasure.
Exactly.
Don't throw those socks away. It is one of the most valuable things. They use them as little purses and bags and keeping their hands warm. Big thing about the feet. A nice pair of clean socks is such a great feeling, yes?
So yeah, I mean, our organization primarily focuses on food and clothing and hygiene. So if you've got in your bathroom, if you've got leftover lotions, leftover shampoo, conditioners, bring them down.
Every time you go to a hotel, well, I've got a lot of shampoo and conditioner for you.
Well, we'll take that and we'll hand them out on your behalf. That's what we do.
I don't need my name on it. I'm just really happy that we've been able to help Las Vegas Bucket List. To my members that are watching, thank you for going out there. I mean, it's really, really touched all of our hearts, and not just us, but definitely the people that you're helping right now.
Yes, thank you. So, yeah, our pleasure.
Are you able to donate money?
We do not do anything with money.
Okay. Didn't hurt to ask. I didn't know if there's a GoFundMe, but I had to wrap that up because I know you're wondering too. So.
No GoFundMe accounts. We don't do anything with money. And our major corporations do honestly come to us from time to time and say, "Hey, would you take a check?" And we've turned them down.
Are you working for the same moving company right now?
No.
Or what are you doing these days?
So I left there. Long story short, but the story's in my book for once it's published. But I left there. I got a job at another company, and I worked there for close to about almost a year, saved up every single penny, and I walked into my boss's office one day and said, sayonara.
And where do you work now?
I do Serving Hope full time.
Oh, that's great news!
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love that!
Yeah.
And what a great way to end the show today. Thank you so much for watching Waking Up in Vegas. Go to LasVegasBucketlist.com to watch this archive and share it. Please share. This will be up on YouTube, and it's also on Hang With. Please let everyone know about this.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. Love you so much. Oh, I love it. All right. Have a safe Labor Day weekend, y'all.
Shout out to all my family members at Serving Hope LV. Love you guys.
If it weren't for you.
Yes.
Absolutely. Oh, thank you. Oh, even George is smiling. Every time I look over, your mouth is like chopped open. You're like, how many? 35,000 homeless.
Yeah.
Oh, I know about those tunnels. It's crazy. All right. How are y'all looking? Oh, we've got quite a few people watching right now. Yeah, those are headphones. I'll give you a peek inside. See, this is actually a radio show. And I just took you behind the scenes. and did another broadcast so you guys could get information on this too. There's Silo. There's a close-up.
Hello.
Hey. And yeah, there's the hashtag, which I put on there. So
Awesome.
Hangwith should send it out to Google.
Awesome.
And everything that we can do to help. I love it. All right. Take care, y'all. Bye. Hi, Mama.
Hi.